السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين مدد يا رسول مدد يا سادة أصحاب رسول مدد يا شيخنا دستور ولا شاء الله فاز شيخ محمد الرحمن طريقاتنا والصحبة والخير في الجميع. Nefsin hastalıklarından birisi de ucub demek, kendini beğenmek demek.
One of the diseases of the ego is self-complacency, self-love, and consider oneself above others.
Bu nefsin hastalıklarından herkes de olabilir.
The ego has certain diseases, and people may suffer from these diseases of the ego.
Herkeste, avamın hasta her türlü şey var ama tarikatta olan insan
And everyone may have one of these diseases of the ego.
Şeriat olan insan onda olması güzel değil.
But when you are in the tarika, and also when you follow the sharia, to be self-complacent, to have self-love, and to consider oneself above others is something that does not befit a believer.
Ne için güzel değil? Çünkü o yapılan ibadetlerinin faziletini üstün görüyor.
Why is self-complacency, self-love, or to consider oneself above others not a good thing? Because if you consider yourself above others for what you do, this then leads to lose the blessings and the benefit of what you do.
Gece teheccüde kalktım, başkaları uyuyor.
To say things like, I woke up for tahajjud while others sleep.
Yine şeytanen orada bir insana bir şey veriyor ki
to say things like this and to be boastful about what one does is a trick by shaitan.
O fazileti götürsün.
And shaitan aims to make you lose the blessings and the rewards of what you do.
Yani o yani yapsam bile yarı buçuk tam Allah'ın rızası gibi olmasın diye sana bir şeyler yapıyor.
And these are tricks and traps in order to fool you so that you may not gain Allah Almighty's satisfaction, and even if you do things for Allah Almighty, that you do not obtain the full reward of it, but so that you may lose the benefits and the blessings of it by making you be boastful about what you do.
Bu tarikat ehlinde olabiliyor çok.
And this is a danger which holds true for people who follow the tariqah, to be self-complacent, to love oneself for what one does, and to consider oneself above others.
Çünkü başka insanlar fazla başka şeylerde kendilerini beğeniyorlar.
Other people, they are also self-complacent. They love themselves for other things.
Onlar dünya içinde beğense istediği gibi beğensin.
They love them not for worship themselves, but they do not love themselves for worship, but they love themselves and consider themselves above others for worldly matters.
Yani güzel giyiniyorum, ben yakışıklıyım, ben güzelim, ben.
I wear beautiful clothes, I'm handful, I'm beautiful, and thus people have this narcissistic character.
Şuyum ben, buyum diye.
They say I'm this and I'm that.
Ben şöyle mertebem bu kadar yüksek.
My station, my reputation is that high, they say.
Bu onlar dünya işidir.
And there are people who love themselves and who love their worldly status.
Zaten başından beri hiçbir faydası olmayan şeylerle uğraşıyorlar.
And they preoccupy themselves with things which do not have value from the very beginning.
Ama onların kendilerini beğenmişlikleri dünya ahalisi içinde güzel karşılanmaz.
And people do not love those who are self-complacent, who boast about what they do, and who love themselves for what they do, and who boast about those things what they do.
Kendisi yani kendini bir şey zannetse bile dünya için çalışsa, yani dünyanın ahalisi ona kıskanır yahut.
People do not like if people think of themselves to be something, and they don't like to see others boast about what they do, because this makes people to become envious of them.
Şey yapmaz, yani bir itibar etse bile bir muhabbeti, bir fazileti yok.
And they may respect you, but they may not like or love people who are boastful about themselves and about what they do.
Bir sevabı yok. O öyledir ama bu Allah yolunda olanlar için güzel bir şey değil.
And this is about worldly matters, but when it comes for matters that are for Allah Almighty,
Buna dikkat etmek lazım ki
one needs to be very careful about these things, because we must not be boastful about what we do for Allah Almighty.
ya sen ibadet yapıyorsan kendin şükretmen lazım.
If you are in a state where you are able to worship Allah Almighty, then you must not be boastful about it, but you must be thankful for it.
Başkaları yapmıyorsa onlara üstünlük gösterme.
And if others are unable to do what you do, then you must not despise others, you must not look down onto others.
Allah sana bu nimeti vermiş.
But be thankful for this divine favor which Allah Almighty has given to you.
Ötekilerine vermemiş.
And it's a favor which you have received and which others do not have.
Onun için yani bu senden değil, Allah Azze ve Celle'den de.
And those things you perform for Allah Almighty, you are not the one who does these things. These are blessings and favors by Allah Almighty, and it is Allah Almighty who enabled you to do these things.
Düşünmek lazım, bilmek lazım.
And we must know and always be aware that it is not us doing these good things and performing this worship. It is Allah Almighty who makes us do these things.
Her yapılan güzel işler Allah Azze ve Celle tarafından bize ikramdır.
Every beautiful deed is a divine favor and a divine gift presented to us by Allah Almighty.
Bize verilen nimettir, büyük nimetlerdir bunlar.
Every good deed we are allowed to perform is a blessing, and it's a grant by Allah Almighty.
Ona şükretmek lazım. Allah muhafaza etsin bizi.
And we must be thankful for it.
Nefsimizin şerrinden kendimizi
May Allah Almighty protect us from the evil of our egos.
Yaptığımız ibadetlerden, yaptığımız şeylerden kendimizi üstün görüp
And may Allah Almighty protect us from the evil of our ego, because it is the ego who wants us to make us believe that we are superior to others because of the worship we perform, and the ego thinks that it is himself who performs that worship.
Başkalarına alçak görüp
May our worship not be the reason for us to look down onto others.
Yapmak bütün dediğimiz gibi fazileti götürür. Allah muhafaza etsin.
Because if you look down onto others because of the worship you perform, you will be losing all the blessings and the favors that come with this worship.
Allah Azze ve Celle her şeye kadirdir.
Allah Almighty is all powerful and able to do all things.
Senden alır, o beğenmediğin insana verir. Senden.
Because He may take away from you and give it to those people who you despise.
Öyle kalırsın. Allah muhafaza etsin.
And then you are left with nothing. And may Allah Almighty protect us from such a state.
Nefsimizin bu tuzaklarından
May Allah Almighty protect us from these traps of our ego,
الله korusun bizi. Bu mübarek günler hürmetine.
for the honor of these sacred days.
ومن الله التوفيق. الفاتحة.